Straight ahead on 12 News, an apartment fire and now a lawsuit. What a Robbinsdale Army veteran claims he lost because of apartment management. Then, forget summer brain drain.
I'm seeing students actively learning, where they want to learn more so that they can do more cool things.
Students use the summer to learn computer programming. But first, what a Hy-Vee grocery store would mean for Robbinsdale and surrounding grocery stores.
If you look at the Twin Cities food market, we're really in a food fight right now.
12 News starts right now. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. Hy-Vee's announcement that it wants to expand to Robbinsdale would give the city its first grocery store since 2013.
And if Robbinsdale officials give it the green light, it will also give other stores intense competition. Delane Cleveland explains.
When we met on New Hope, it was
now
about
I think it's more about Hy-Vee and what are they going to bring to the Twin Cities. Now I think it's more about what are you going to do here in this location.
An open house Wednesday afternoon drew dozens of curious Robbinsdale residents who wanted to learn more about the future of the Terrace Mall. What they discovered is that developers hope to demolish the Terrace Theater and the old Rainbow Foods to make room for a Hy-Vee grocery store.
Well, we're just excited about the opportunity to come to Robbinsdale. Our format has been widely accepted in the Twin Cities, and so we're excited to bring that to Robbinsdale.
The format to which he's referring is 90,000 square feet of food and other amenities, essentially making it a one-stop shop for customers.
It's all about customer service, it's all about our culinary expertise, it's all about health and wellness, and those are the changing needs of our customers.
If the store opens as planned, it will have plenty of competition.
If you look at the Twin Cities food market, we're really in a food fight right now.
St. Thomas marketing professor David Brennan pointed to the 10 grocery stores within a 4-mile radius. For instance, Cub Foods in Crystal sits less than a mile away on 36th Avenue. Crystal also has Olmsted's on 42nd Avenue, and Golden Valley has Byerly's along Highway 100 and Duluth Street.
It's very likely that somebody will get squeezed out of this. When you have a big player and one which is offers so much more than the current ones, it's going to be very difficult for them to compete.
Brennan says it's likely that many customers would choose Hy-Vee versus one of the existing supermarkets because they could get all of their needs met under one roof. But a smaller grocer such as Olmsted's has one advantage.
They have built up a clientele for over a long period of time. And to the extent that they can have that customer loyalty going into the future is a real strong point of differentiation for them.
In the meantime, Hy-Vee officials say they're looking forward to their continued Twin Cities expansion.
And so we're excited to bring a service we don't feel is being met here in the community, and so we're excited to bring that to Robbinsdale.
We spoke to Robbinsdale City Manager Marcia Glick, who said there are still certain elements that need to come together, and there's a chance that this Hy-Vee redevelopment might not happen. But if all goes as planned, developers hope to demolish the current structures in October and open the Hy-Vee in September of 2017. Mike?
All right, interesting. Thank you, Delane. An unusual lawsuit has been filed after a devastating fire in Robbinsdale. Fire tore through the beach south at the Lake Apartments last month. Now, one of the residents is suing the company that manages the property. Billy Buchanan claims he lost everything and was not allowed to go into the building afterward to retrieve his belongings, including Army service medals and family heirlooms. His attorney says everything was lost when the building was torn down.
I mean, there's obviously no way to replace a war medal, and unfortunately the only thing we can ask for is money damages at this point, you know, which would help him replace some of the stuff that can be replaced and compensate him otherwise.
A fire restoration company did help Buchanan recover a Marine Corps T-shirt that belonged to his grandfather and 3 musical instruments. Buchanan is asking for $250,000 in the lawsuit.
Another weekend, another Highway 100 construction closure. This time, northbound Highway 100 will close between Crosstown Highway 62 and I-394. The northbound closure goes from 10 p.m. Friday night until 5 a.m. on Monday. Then the following weekend, the southbound lanes will once again close. Knowing how to create computer software is a valuable tool in today's workforce.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics says that the number of jobs in the IT field is projected to grow by 20% in the next 4 years. And as Shannon Slatton shows us, some local students are getting a head start at programming, all at summer camp.
Yeah, it's pretty easy once you learn it.
Ethan Kinnear is 10 years old.
I'm making a program. Okay, so yes.
And he won't be bringing home a friendship bracelet from this summer camp.
That can change the color of the box, change the number that's in it, and change the background of the screen.
There you go.
If
He's learning one of the key computer programming languages used by professional developers.
Oops, wrong one, minimize that.
Called Python.
Line, line. Line, 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 line. It constantly gets larger until it makes this.
I think that coding is fun because coding is basically solving puzzles and creating stuff. And I think all students like to solve puzzles and create stuff. It's just some of them don't know it yet.
My mom kind of surprised me on Sunday by just going like, "You're going to Python coding tomorrow." I'm like, "What?"
What?
Learning computer coding has become a popular option for summer camp.
Both of these are 150.
Students are polishing up computer and math skills and might not even realize it.
When you can trick students into learning skills while they're playing games, I think that's the best way to do it because it keeps them engaged, but they also learn valuable skills.
Like this. Hey, did you just crash? Whatever.
Some of the process is trial and error.
What is it? Comma.
But most of it is problem solving.
300, comma, 50, comma, fill is equal to purple.
Some students plan on using these skills to create their own video games at home.
I'm actually making a game in my house.
Fun and games now, but students know these skills could come in handy later in life.
Because programming is fun and it's really like, it can give you lots of jobs in the future and stuff.
In Plymouth, Shannon Slatton, 12 News.
Try to keep up with those kids. In Wayzata School summer camp, students can also learn Java, 3D animation, video game coding, and how to design a mobile game app.
10 Park Center High School students are getting ready for a trip of a lifetime. The group will leave at the end of the month for Guatemala, where they will visit a small city to volunteer their labor and soak up Mayan culture. The students include sophomores, juniors, and seniors, as well as 2 who have never flown before. They were chosen out of 50 applicants, and for 2 graduated seniors, it'll be an opportunity to brush up on their Spanish-speaking skills and experience a whole new way of life.
I was very interested to get the international experience, to have the opportunity to go into a culture that's different from ours and learn from it.
I'm just really excited to go and experience a new community that I'm not originally in, and get to see how other people live their life.
During their visit, the students will help the Mayan people with projects such as construction, gardening, and painting, and they leave on July 27th and return August 7th. Coming up, what gardeners call liquid gold for plants.
And then later in sports, we visit a local youth basketball camp where some high school players play the role of teachers.
But first, sunny and spectacular on Friday. We'll be right back. This summer, there is a pest that's starting to take a bite out of trees and plants.
The damage is starting to show up. You're starting to see the tree looking a little brown. There's kind of a cast to it. It doesn't look quite right.
The culprit, these Japanese beetles. They eat all the green out of the leaves, and what's left behind is leaves that look a little like vintage lace. But don't panic or immediately spray with chemicals, because you will probably end up with unintended consequences like killing off bees or other helpful insects. The bottom line is that the damage done by Japanese beetles looks worse than it actually is.
Don't do anything drastic. Don't cut the tree down. You probably don't need to treat. You don't need to spray unless it's a really small, valuable rose bush or something. Trees like this can take damage 2-3 years in a row of defoliation.
If you have a plant with beetles, one way to treat it without chemicals is by placing buckets of soapy water underneath the leaves for the beetles to fall into. And Heidi's GrowHaus in Corcoran is the kind of place that you could ask questions about ways to get rid of Japanese beetles.
Yeah, the business offers hard-to-find plants, but the garden center also teaches customers how to be good to Mother Earth. Reporter Sonia Goins goes in the garden to show us Heidi's GrowHaus.
You're focusing on clean living, if you will.
Heidi Highland is the owner of Heidi's GrowHaus. She calls this the next generation of garden centers. The 5-acre lot includes 3 greenhouses and 8 hoop houses.
We can control what we grow here, and we don't put any chemicals in it.
Heidi's GrowHaus is a hub for learning about the environment and how to protect it. There are 3 beehives on the property. The University of Minnesota Bee Squad manages the hives.
We have a tent in the back so that folks can stand inside in a safe place, and the beekeeper will bring a frame over to the tent window so you can stand inside and try to identify the queen.
The garden center is also unique in that compost tea is brewed right on the property.
It helps the soils. It isn't simply feeding the plant and the plant roots, it's changing the soil biology.
And because the fertilizer is organic, you don't have to worry about chemical runoff.
We use that fabulous compost and we put in natural amendments and things.
Those items are then put in a large tea bag.
And then it sort of brews and seeps in those tanks for a certain period of time.
Heidi's GrowHaus is also big on getting folks to grow edible landscapes.
The landscape to table movement could be blueberries as a hedge, strawberries as a ground cover. Asparagus waving in the wind rivals the look of any perennial grass I've ever seen.
Heidi says you don't have to be an experienced gardener to grow with environmentally safe principles, but she does suggest newbie gardeners start out by planting something they like or are familiar with.
Whether it's a peony or a petunia, make sure that you feel comforted by those plants, and then make sure that they're grown in an appropriate way.
For In the Garden, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
Coming up, a kickoff to Maple Grove Days, Elton John style.
But first, a tight American Legion baseball game between Maple Grove and Osseo. John Jacobson has the highlights up next in sports.
The postseason in American Legion baseball starts late next week. 2 rivals met up Wednesday night at a North Hennepin League game as Osseo hosted Maple Grove. Bottom of the 3rd inning, and Osseo's Cameron Perna singles over the bag at 3rd and into left field for a hit. Adam Lanner scores, and it's a 1-1 game. Maple Grove threatens to break the tie in the 5th with 2 runners on, but pitcher Ben Christopherson gets a strikeout to end the inning, keeping this game tied up at 1. Osseo looking to get a runner into scoring position in the bottom of the 5th, but Maple Grove catcher Drew Lewis, perfect throw down to Max Marshall at second base for the out, and it's still 1-1 through 5. 6th inning, a pitch in the dirt, gets to the backstop. Charlie Horton hustles home from 3rd base, and Maple Grove goes in front 2-1. They'll add 1 more in the 7th inning. Similar play here. Jensen Erickson scores from 3rd on a wild pitch. Maple Grove wins it over Osseo. 3-1 is the final. In New Hope, Westfall Armstrong hosted Ham Lake. Bottom of the 2nd, Westfall's Alex Jaffe ripping a ground ball, getting past 3rd and scoring Nick Sternix, tying the game at 1. Bottom of the 3rd, Armstrong takes the lead. Mitchell Waletsky coming home on a wild pitch, and it's 2-1. That's still the score in the 7th inning when Ham Lake rallies. Ryan Lust ripping the base hit to score Lincoln Ernie, and we're tied up at 2. Bottom of the 8th, Dawson D up, and he'll send a shot to the fence for Westfall. Quinn McGrath comes home for the winning run, and Armstrong takes this one 3-2 in 8 innings. Keeping kids busy and active can be a challenge in the summer months. Young basketball players in Maple Grove are getting plenty of work in this week. This is the Maple Grove Basketball Academy, run by Crimson varsity boys coach Nick Schroeder. An earlier session in late June had 1st through 4th graders. This 2-week session is for 5th through 8th graders. The chance to improve their skills and have fun.
They teach you various skills and how to become more developed in your game, and they really help you just develop into a better player.
They show you great skills like dribbling and shooting and
perform?
The main goal is to have fun, obviously, and also to get better. You know, we want to use this time in the summer. Off season is the best time to improve your skills, and if us as a program can help people do that, you know, that's what we're trying to do.
Some of the Maple Grove High School players are helping out with the drills too. For Crimson coach Nick Schroeder, it brings back fond memories of his days growing up in the Osseo program.
Now this is before Maple Grove was even built, but Warren bowling camps. I still remember going to those. It was the greatest thing I did all summer long, and Warren bowling, you know, I still can remember the things that he said at camp and the drills that we did, and I loved basketball camp growing up, so I try to emulate that and give the kids as great of an experience as possible as on the basketball floor.
Well, it's time for this week's Channel 12 fishing tip. This week, Terry Tuma offers some good tips on catching bass.
Just came back from Gull Lake fishing bass. We had a tough bite going. Storms rolled through the day before, severe weather, and so sort of anticipated a tougher bite, and that's exactly what happened the next morning. And we did catch a lot of bass, pretty decent fish, but they were deep fish at the edge of the weed line. The water has cleared up due to the zebra mussels. Anywhere from 19 to 21 feet is where these fish were positioned, and it was the use of electronics that helped us find these spots. It was not the weed line edge, it was where the points sort of jutted out into the mainstream of the lake. That was really the ticket. These fish, again, were hugging the bottom. Weighted wacky worm jigs were the most productive, and then a good backup, or one of the guests that I had out was using tube jigs, also quite productive. Spinnerbaits, crankbaits were not productive whatsoever, but that just gives us an idea of what your electronics are used for, not only marking fish, but marking weed edges, structure, rock pods, whatever it can be, and that is really what's going to help you catch fish. Give it a try. Don't be afraid to use something that's unique. Many times Texas rig also would be working under those kind of conditions. Be sure to tune in next week, but mix up that bass fishing with different presentations of plastics.
Thanks, Terry. A look ahead to the Duck Duck Day softball tournament Friday starting at 4 and 12 News.
Okay, thanks, John. And still ahead, a patriotic kickoff to Maple Grove Days.
We'll be right back.
And finally, a beautiful night, the red, white, and blue, and a little Elton John.
Fantastic, the feedback, the honey, the high could be holding.
That's Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, in case you're wondering, performed by Elton Songs and Elton John Tribute Band. The concert was part of the Kickoff to Maple Grove Days. It also helped raise awareness to the city's Beyond the Yellow Ribbon program, which supports local military service members and their families.
It's hard finding vets. They don't come out of the woodwork. So you have to try to get to them, and then we just try to help them as much as we can. Just get the word out.
And tonight at Maple Grove Days, the focus is on 89th Avenue, where the parade gets underway. That's at 6:30 on Thursday night. You see John and Jason Melillo there, and if you get one of these fans, send us a selfie for a chance at a prize. We'll announce the winners on Friday. Good night.